In the next few years, artificial intelligence is set to disrupt, displace, or completely transform hundreds of millions of jobs. Some reports warn that generative AI could impact as many as 300 million full-time jobs worldwide. And this time, we're not just talking about factory jobs. We're talking about the careers we were all told were safe. Programmers, accountants, paralegals, graphic designers, and yes, even journalists. This isn't some far-off hypothetical future. It's already happening. And this isn't a story about productivity. It's the story of a gathering storm. A storm that threatens to hollow out the middle class, choke off consumer spending, and trigger an economic crisis that could dwarf anything we've seen in our lifetimes. The very engine of our economy is at risk, and most people don't even see it coming. For decades, the story of automation was simple. Robots take the dangerous, repetitive blue-collar jobs, and humans move up to more creative, thoughtful roles. That story is now officially dead. The AI revolution isn't just coming for tasks. It's coming for entire professions. Let's be clear about the scale of what we're facing. A landmark Goldman Sachs report suggests that up to 300 million full-time jobs globally are exposed to automation from generative AI. Now, exposed doesn't mean erase, but it does mean radical change. The World Economic Forum gets more specific, forecasting that by 2030, technology will create 170 million new roles. But it will also make 92 million existing jobs obsolete. While that sounds like a net gain on paper, it hides a terrifying truth. The new jobs aren't for the same people, in the same places, or with the same skills as the ones being lost. It's a recipe for mass displacement. This is the white-collar wave of automation. It's the paralegal whose research can now be done in seconds by an AI, the accountant whose auditing tasks are being automated, and the software developer whose entry-level code is being written by the very systems they help build. And this isn't just speculation. The data shows it's happening right now. In the first half of 2025 alone, the tech industry shed nearly 78,000 jobs, with many of those cuts directly linked to a corporate pivot towards artificial intelligence. Companies are openly admitting it. They're restructuring to become leaner AI-first organizations, and that means reducing human headcount. Perhaps the most alarming signal is coming from the front lines. Young people just starting their careers. They are the canaries in this new economic coal mine. One stunning report highlighted that unemployment among tech workers aged 20 to 30 has surged by nearly 3 percentage points since the beginning of 2025, a sharper rise than for any other group. Data from the St. Louis Fed also shows that occupations highly exposed to AI have seen sharper rises in unemployment since 2022. So why are the young getting hit first and hardest? Because AI is exceptionally good at automating entry-level tasks. The routine work that once served as the training ground for an entire generation is vanishing. Companies are finding they can use AI to do the work of junior marketers, analysts, and programmers, allowing them to hire far fewer graduates. We are, in effect, pulling up the drawbridge to the middle class, leaving a whole generation of educated, ambitious people stranded on the outside. A few million jobs lost might seem like a manageable cost of progress, but that view fundamentally misunderstands how our economy actually works. This isn't just a labor market shift. It's the systematic dismantling of the engine of economic growth. Consumer spending. This is the domino effect that could lead directly to a crash. Let's walk through the 5 critical stages. The first domino is income. The threat of AI doesn't just hit those who lose their jobs. It hangs over everyone in an exposed field. When a company can automate 30% of an accountant's tasks, they don't just need fewer accountants. It means the remaining accountants have less power to ask for a raise. Why pay more when a software update can deliver the same productivity boost for a fraction of the cost? This creates massive downward pressure on wages for millions of middle-class jobs. At the same time, the pipeline for new talent is being choked off. A generation starting their careers with lower incomes means a generation with less money to spend for decades to come. This isn't just a personal tragedy, it's a macroeconomic disaster in the making. This leads to the second most dangerous domino, the collapse of consumer spending. Consumer spending is the bedrock of the U.S. economy, making up about 70% of our entire GDP. When millions of people are out of work or earning less money, they do the only rational thing. They stop buying stuff. And this is where the negative multiplier effect kicks in. Think about it. A displaced software engineer doesn't just postpone buying a new car. She cancels her gym membership, eats out less, and cuts back on travel. Suddenly, the car dealership, the gym owner, the restaurant server, and the airline all feel the pinch. They, in turn, reduce their own spending and might have to lay off their own staff. This is how job losses in a few sectors can cascade through the entire economy, creating a vicious downward spiral. When the broad middle class, the primary driver of your economy, has its income systematically cut, the whole system grinds to a halt. The third domino is an explosion of inequality. The AI economy is creating a starkly K-shaped world. On the upward arm of the K, you have the owners of the AI models, top executives, and a small handful of AI whisperers who can command huge salaries. Their wealth is skyrocketing. On the downward arm is almost everyone else. The vast majority of workers are either displaced or forced to compete with AI, seeing their economic security evaporate. This isn't just a social problem. It's a core economic one. A healthy economy needs broad-based purchasing power. Billionaires don't buy thousands of times more iPhones or toothpaste than the rest of us. An extreme concentration of wealth at the very top starves. The real consumer economy of the oxygen, it needs to function and create jobs. But what about all the new jobs AI will create? This is the classic counter-argument, and it tragically misses the point. The World Economic Forum does project 170 million new jobs by 2030, but it also warns of 92 million jobs being displaced. The problem is a catastrophic mismatch. First, a skills mismatch. The jobs being created AI ethicists, robotics maintenance specialists, advanced data scientists require highly specialized skills. A 45-year-old administrative assistant can't just become an AI researcher overnight. Retraining on this scale is a monumental challenge that we are nowhere near prepared for. Second, a geographic mismatch. The new AI jobs are hyper-concentrated in a few elite tech hubs, but the job losses are happening everywhere. We're risking a new generation of rust belts, not of shuttered factories, but of hollowed-out office parks across the country. This creates deep regional inequality and long-term structural unemployment. The final, and most deceptive, domino is the investment cycle. Right now, the AI revolution is fueling an enormous investment boom. Companies are spending hundreds of billions on GPUs and data centers. This spending is so massive that it's actually propping up GDP growth, creating a dangerous illusion of prosperity. It masks the underlying weakness in the labor market and the quiet erosion of consumer demand. But here's the trillion-dollar question. What happens when that investment boom slows down? And it will slow down. All investment cycles do. When the temporary stimulus from this spending fades, the underlying rot, the craving consumer demand for mass job displacement, will be exposed. A recession that was being papered over by investment dollars could suddenly become a full-blown crash. The very thing that looks like a strength today is, in fact, a temporary sugar high before the fall. The economic ground is shifting under our feet, and understanding these forces is the first step to navigating them. If you're getting value from this breakdown and want to stay ahead of these critical trends, take a second to subscribe and hit the notification bell. We break down the crucial economic shifts shaping our world every week, so you know what's coming next. The picture I painted is bleak. It should be. The risks are enormous, but a crash is not inevitable. The future is not yet written. We're at a crossroads with two very different paths ahead. One leads to the crisis we've just described. The other leads to a future where the incredible productivity gains from AI are shared, creating a new era of prosperity. Choosing that second path requires bold action, both from our leaders and from each of us. First, we have to admit that our 20th century social safety net is totally unprepared for a 21st century AI economy. We need to rewire the system. This starts with a massive investment in programs that actively help people transition. Instead of just a tiny unemployment check, we need large-scale, government-funded retraining initiatives focused on the skills of the future. We need wage subsidies for companies that choose to augment their workers with AI rather than just replacing them. Second, it's time for a serious conversation about a new social contract. This means strengthening unemployment to provide a real living wage during transitions. And yes, it means we must seriously explore programs like universal basic income. The idea of giving people a regular, unconditional income is no longer a fringe fantasy. For many economists, it's becoming an economic necessity to prevent the collapse of consumer demand. Third, we need an education revolution. The four-year degree, as the one and only gateway to a good career, is an obsolete model. We need faster, more flexible, and more affordable paths to skills, like modular credentials and industry-recognized certificates, all built around a culture of lifelong learning. Finally, we need to guide corporate behavior. We can use tax incentives to encourage businesses to adopt an augmentation strategy using AI to make human workers more productive rather than a pure replacement strategy. Waiting for the government to figure this out is not a strategy. The responsibility also falls on us to prepare for the world that is coming. Fear isn't an option. Action is. This is your playbook for the AI era. First, your goal is to become an AI augmenter, not an AI victim. Whatever your job is, AI tools are coming for it. You have two choices. Ignore them and become obsolete, or master them and become irreplaceable. Be the person in your office who knows how to use AI to get better, faster results. Make AI your co-pilot, not your replacement. Second, double down on your uniquely human skills. AI is brilliant at processing data. It's terrible at creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, and real leadership. These are the new power skills. Focus your development on the abilities that machines can't copy. Third, embrace constant learning. The idea that you could get a degree and be set for a 40-year career is over. You have to think of yourself as being in a permanent state of beta. Your ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn is now your single greatest asset. Fourth, build your personal brand and network. In a world of unstable employment, your security doesn't come from your employer. It comes from your reputation and your relationships. Become known for something. Your network is your true safety net. Finally, get serious about financial resilience. In an era of economic volatility, an emergency fund isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. Build a buffer that can cover at least 6 months of expenses. Financial literacy gives you options, and in an uncertain world, options are freedom. The AI revolution is here. It holds the potential for two radically different futures. One path leads to an economic crash driven by mass displacement, soaring inequality, and social unrest. The other leads to an age of augmented prosperity, where we use AI to solve our biggest challenges and create a society with more shared abundance than we can currently imagine. The difference between dystopia and utopia won't be determined by the technology. It will be determined by the choices we make right now as a society, as companies, and as individuals. The challenge is immense, but so is the opportunity. We can't afford to be passive observers. The question is no longer if AI will change the world, but how we will adapt. What are you doing to prepare? What do you think is the most critical step we need to take to avoid the crash scenario? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. And if this video gave you a clearer picture of what's at stake, please give it a like and subscribe for more deep dives into the forces shaping our future.